How y'all doing?
Doing great, doing great.
You wearing that DJ Max Magic Daddy shirt again, huh?
Right.
I remember seeing that before.
She's at the Tabernacle a couple weeks back.
Follow her on IG. She go all around the world.
Now, did you take Ken's seat, or did y'all? How did that happen?
I was here
Are y'all fighting over?
first. I was here first.
So it's an honor to sit next to Led. Is that what we're saying?
Be more gracious. He said, I don't know about that.
Y'all ready?
Poor Josh. You got to sit behind this guy every day.
So very excited. Another really good day for us. Starting with Billy Bowman. If you don't enjoy watching him play, then you just don't like football. He flies around, tough, smart, extremely athletic, really versatile. I know Brick's talked about our vision of him playing in that nickel and all the things he can do there, whether he's a pressure player, whether he's covering people or playing the run, filling, takes the ball away at a high rate, not just in terms of interceptions and anticipating and pulling, taking away, but he's got ball awareness. We talked about the other day with Xavier. He's got ball awareness, so he takes it away. And, again, just an unreal competitor, next level competitor. So very, very excited about him and what he brings to our team and our defense. And excited about Jack Nelson. You want to add some youth to the offensive line room. 4-year starter at Wisconsin, big man, all the intangibles. He's played all over that line. So very excited about adding him in the 7th round. With that, we'll open up to questions.
All of your draft picks ended up spending their whole career at one university. Is that something you prioritize when looking at this class? Or is it just happenstance?
Yeah, it's not something. We're not against taking guys that have been places, and it is unique this year particularly. You have some people that have been at 3 different schools, and that does make it more challenging for scouts to go to a lot of different sources in different places and piece together information. But I would say no, it's not a disqualifier to go to a lot of different schools. You about to say something?
No, I thought it was pretty unique. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I was trying to say no.
And last year's picks too, except for Michael, I think were the same.
It's
Coach
interesting.
Morris, what did you think of Bauman and his traits? And
A lot of the same. Just the position flex. The ability to play a little nickel, play a little star position, the ability to pop back and play a little safety, potentially some dime. Really appreciate the toughness, the guy. Really appreciate the energy that he plays with. The uncommon, run and hit to the ball. You love that. Like, Terry mentioned, if you don't like watching this guy, you don't like football. This guy's outstanding. It's one of those guys when you draft and everybody that knows him calls you and texts you that's got any kind of commonality of relationship or been around him. They're so excited about him. I know our PR director is very excited about an Oklahoma guy, so fired up.
You had lost 6 starters on defense from last season to now. How are you now feeling in terms of depth on defense throughout the draft?
Yeah, we're excited to be able to add, and it's not just, I wouldn't just say adding depth and just adding. We're not just adding bodies. These are impactful players, every single one of them, that we have a clear vision for, and it worked out. It doesn't always work out like this, but they fit needs. Whether you're talking about the pressure players up front, the ends, and obviously we know the versatility that we have there at the safety position, the nickel position. These were all needs for us, and it worked out that we're able to add impact players in those spots. It doesn't always work out like that, so very excited about that.
With Nelson, you mentioned he's played across the line. Do you have a vision? I imagine he'll be cross-trained here, but would you think he's going to
Yes, sir.
exclusively
Yep,
attack?
Charles. No, I would say cross-train because that's one of the things that is cool about him, and he fits our scheme because some players don't. But a big man like that can open up and run. Again, he's played inside. He's played both left and right. So he's been moved around, and so he has a lot of versatility. So, yes, sir, we'd say we would cross-train him.
It may not be a disqualifier, but what does it say in today's day and age with the NIL and transfer portal when a player does spend a whole career somewhere?
Well, Taryn, it's unique because there's different reasons. There's so many different stories, and so I wouldn't say that it's not a negative at all when guys move and go different places. But look, I didn't even realize until you said it, honestly. And
That's what I was thinking.
I didn't, I really didn't. It's not like we're disqualifying guys for it or anything like that. But it's pretty cool.
We took some players from big time schools also.
Mm-hmm.
The first day really crossing the SEC and then having the ability to get into the likes of Notre Dame and get into the likes of some of those type of schools. It's just like, those guys, you don't really necessarily transfer from those type of schools. You love being in that place, and they kind of got great tradition.
And if you go through it, and if you think about it, like I'm picturing if you're the head coach at a university, and I'm the general manager at the university, and you got Jalen Walker, you got Pierce, and you go through each one of them. If you got Billy Bowman, Xavier Watts, either one of those, you come to me at the end of each season and say, don't lose these players.
For sure.
Figure out a way to keep them, and you got an issue with me if we lose them.
Yeah,
these are those kind of players.
You can see these are two guys that really don't know much about NIL. And it's like, that's pretty cool when we sit up here trying to think about it right now.
Yeah.
You spoke a lot about conviction of players. So for you, when you're looking at, the culture you're trying to build with the Falcons, what's the biggest characteristic you look for in these guys off the field?
Yeah, well, it's the total picture, because when we talk about makeup, it's not just about who they are off the field, because we're looking for high-end football character. And so because you can have someone that is a really good person. Y'all see it in y'all's careers. You can have people that they're really good people, and yet, like, they're not just dying to be great reporters or dying to be great writers. They're not up all night thinking about one little thing they can change or trying to make one more call to gather information. They're not as passionate about their craft. Y'all are around people like that, and they kind of annoy you a little bit. It's the same thing. It's like there's people that are real clean off the field and they like football, but are they dying to win and dying to be great? So it's we look at everything off the field, and we've all made mistakes, and so we go through that process, and we look at everything, we dig through everything, but then we get into the football character, and you better love ball, you better be passionate about ball, you better be dying to win, you better be dying to get better and be great and all those things, and so we work really hard to go through that whole process. So it's not just about a background check if you're clean, or if the people at the school say you're a good person or anything like that. We want to know if you're doing everything you can do to be great, and if you're a great teammate and all those things. And so it's just really going through all those traits.
Terry talks about it a lot, but he looks for obsessed people in their craft. And we talk about the football character. When you're obsessed about your craft, you're obsessed about what you do. He loves that. And this really just goes across the board and everything, all the way from every part of our building to our players. And then obviously within our team setting, we talk about being community contributors. So we want to make these guys and help them become community contributors without reaching out to our community, people that can go out in our community and touch our community the way some of our players have done in the past, to continue that type of tradition. And then, for us, it's about people that fit our ethos. And then we can take some chances with some people to get them in here and help them within our ethos and make them better people. And that's a part of our development as well. So, I just think we got a great development plan for all our guys and the people in the building that do such a good job of helping us do those things.
I just see right tackle and left tackle and right guard. Were there other spots that we missed that he played?
He's played pretty much in the way they cross train their guys. He's played everywhere. Led now in terms of how many games he started or if he started games, all those things. But that's one of the positive things is the versatility that we believe he brings.
Harry, do you have a kind of a different feel about each draft class? And obviously this one you swung big for, you got Jalen to come down for you. Just give a certain sort of feel about this group, or knowing kind of how much was invested to bring them guys here.
It's unique because, like I said, the way we draft, we don't want to reach for needs, and again, this thing just worked out really well. Even though I understand we went up and got James Pierce, but we did that for a reason. When we're sitting on the clock at 15 and Now Jalen's sitting there and like, man, because, again, we always look at the worst-case scenario. And that wasn't the worst-case scenario. That was a great scenario. But because some of the other offensive guys, so we're sitting there looking at him, and so it's like, man, how do we get two of these studs? Like, let's figure out a way to do that. And let's really impact this thing, and let's really figure out a way to do that. And then the same when we're sitting there, and now we're in the third, and we're patient, and then Xavier Watts, and then we're looking at some teams that can take him, that we expect to take him. We're like, let's go up and get that dude. Let's go up and get him. And then Billy Bowman, again, we were surprised that because we had him at the top of our stack coming in this morning, and we're like, there's no way he's going to be there. We didn't expect him to. And yet he was. And so it's really exciting. So, and I guess what I started that rant about saying, Ken, what I wanted to say is it doesn't always line up to where the need matches the board in terms of the players that are there. But it really worked out for us, and we truly were able to bring in impact players in all areas.
Every year, rookie free agency is important. You've made a couple of references to what you called the 8th round already. Is that more important this year because you had only 5 picks, or is it more important because of the depth that you saw?
Yes, sir, Charles. Both of those. You hit it. It's really both of those. What pick are we at right now? Because we're chomping at the bit, ready to roll.
So they got 30 left.
30 picks left.
He was trying to end the interview on you. He was trying to get out of here, Charles.
Same way we do. He's trying to get a running start to the 8th round.
But
oh, I'm sorry.
Get out of here.
No, but you're right. It's really both. It's because there are more players, and I'm anxious to see because even on our front board, you still have players sitting there. And so it's there are more players there, so you want to really be aggressive. And you're right. We had 5 picks, where some teams, if a team drafted 10 players, then they're going to be more apt to – because that's what those guys are – when they're making those decisions, they're looking at depth and looking at where they have more of a chance. So the fact that we drafted 5 players, then they could be more apt to – so it's really both of those,
We haven't mentioned Kirk Cousins in a couple of days, so I'll ask Kirk Cousins. Did you have any discussions about him and all the calls that y'all had this weekend?
Well, we wouldn't share any private communication, but really, nothing's changed with that. It will, just like on any player, if we get a call, we'll discuss it, and if it makes sense, it's going to help this team, we'll do it, and if not, we won't.
Did you keep one eye or half an eye on where quarterbacks went this weekend, because it affects that landscape of what you might be able to do trade-wise?
I'd say more so just at every position. That's a big deal, because what happens now is you're going to have, after people go through their drafts, depending on where they drafted guys, there's going to be – we're making those calls right now, but there's going to be some guys that are possible trades. And at any position, there's going to be there's these free agents now. There's still some solid free agents out there. Now they're going to start making those decisions. They want to get through the draft. That's going to affect things. So we keep an eye on all these rosters to look at every position and what that means, not just hyper-focused on one position, but we look at all the teams and all the positions.
Anything else?
Yeah, the deadline's coming.
Got plenty of time. We say 30 picks. You could have helped me.
Yeah,
220.
Oh, I actually got about 4 picks left. We're going fast, so we got around.
Yeah, just be keeping stuff in order here for what's coming up. Drake London's 5th-year option is, I guess, May the 1st is the deadline for that. I would expect that to be picked up. How do we handle that?
Well, we haven't. Yeah, we'll keep those discussions private, but you know how we feel about Drake. He's a stud, and stud on the field. He's everything we're about. Just like we were just talking about being obsessed with the game. It's not, obviously, he's a good man off the field, but he blacks out when it's time to play and when it's time to compete, and he will do anything he can to rip your face off and win the game. That's who he is. He just completely, and that's what we want. We don't want just guys that are going to come in and be great and off the field and just kind of be okay. We want dudes that when we lose, they're angry and they're not okay, and they don't sleep well when we're losing. That's the kind of guy he is. So, and we'll take like that heart that Drake has. If you could do heart transplants and do it to everybody, then we'll be in good shape.
Hey, young coach, you might have talked about Jack, but I probably missed it. But what were you thinking when you got Jack Nelson?
Yeah, I did not talk about him. You know, it was kind of summed up the same way. You know, like you're talking about a guy that potentially fits in playing your left tackle, and you just got to visualize some of the athleticism that he could play on the right side as well. You got to have the ability that he can slide down the guard because he did it, and obviously did it in college. But you like the traits, you like the recovery ability in pass pro, and then you get your guys up front that really like to do what we do is run the football and watch them do some of those things, especially at an institution like Wisconsin. You got to be fired about acquiring a young man that we just was able to pick up in the 7th round.
Jeff earlier had said that he was more involved throughout the process here than he has been ever.
It was sorry, Dan, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's actually very true. It was like I opened up the doorways to some of the more internal meetings that I was able to have last year with Kyle and Ryan and Terry and some of that group when they were smaller. I opened up a little bit this year to incorporate Jeff Ulbrich and Zach Robinson. Like I told you guys yesterday, that we were able to watch some of those players together, and we were able to talk about those guys together and discuss some of those things. So we had a holistic whole view of how we wanted to build our team and what we were doing through the course of the day. It's the reason you don't have Zach Robinson coming in and complaining about fighting for people that we know we want to pick, because we had kind of a all-encompassing approach to the draft and what we wanted to do and how we wanted to go about our business. So it was really fun to include those guys in some of the things. It took a little time, but it was a lot of fun to include those guys in a little more detailed conversations and honest truth amongst each other that we were able to do this year. Just a little bit of our growth, a little bit of us getting better too, and I think it was something that we really enjoyed throughout the process.
And that's Daniel, that's an important part of it, and we never want anybody to mistake that for groupthink. The fact that we have such an inclusive process with the coaching staff, with the scouts, with the ownership they take in their areas and those with analytics. And it says a lot about Raheem, because there's some coaches or some GMs that don't want all that information. They don't want to hear what analytics has to say, or they don't want to look at all these other things. There's some coaches like that and some GMs like that, but we do. Everyone does have a say. We have a very inclusive process, but that doesn't mean that we're sitting here trying to please everybody. We get all the information, and then we determine what's right for this football team, And so we have an inclusive process, and yet we're always going to do what's right for the team. And if you'd have heard, it's really cool because the defensive rooms are kind of right next to the draft room, and they're not actually in the building, but there's times when we're on the clock and now we're about to get Bowman, and you hear beating on the wall and like it's brick trying to get in. But there was so much excitement, again, even for the offensive coaches, because offensive coaches are watching defensive guys too. So it's really cool.
Raheem, at the owners' meetings, the way you were talking about Kirk and the voluntary workouts, you'd either been told that he wasn't coming or you were expecting that.
No, I was just using my common sense, all the things that's going on and talking about whether the guy's going to show up or not. I know it was a little bit of contention there. It was some different type of things. You can feel any type of way, and I know it's voluntary. So when somebody asked me did I expect him to come, I just said no, I wasn't expecting him to, but I was definitely welcome with open arms. And that's exactly what happened. He came in and he was welcomed with open arms, and I'm always glad to see anybody that's on our football team, and he was definitely one of them.
Do you, as he said, I'm planning to be here the whole time, or what sort of conversations have you?
It was voluntary, and you take it day by day, you take it step by step, and I think he's done a great job of coming in, being with his team, being a part of us, and that's what he's got to do right now until we figure out whatever else could happen. Obviously we're open to all the ideas and things that we talk about, and open to all the things and listening to people and communicating to see what happened best for our team, but it's always going to make sense for the Falcons.
I'm probably going to turn myself in because I violated that, but I looked out there, I didn't see him. I saw Stickett wearing 12 and Emory Jones with the bun, and I saw number
Today?
9. No, one day last week.
You turn yourself in. I don't know what you're doing.
Well, I didn't see him out here at practice.
Coaches aren't allowed to go out there.
Why would you say that though, Led? Because it's trying to be nice and get you some sunlight and get the thing, and now we're going to put the shades down.
I saw I'm working out, and I probably
And when you are mad because y'all don't get any natural light in here,
all I know is
shades
coaches
down.
are not allowed to
Lay a
go
toe
out
on it.
to the field in phase
Oh, okay,
one,
so
so I wasn't out there.
Okay, I didn't see him. I saw Easter Stick and Emory Jones and Michael Penix throwing balls, but
Just
I just have a
Michael
quick-
can moving forward.
I have a
Coaches can't go out there.
okay. All right.
A quick question reminding me when y'all talking about Nelson and switching him around. Does having a left-handed quarterback change the way y'all think?
It's funny we have
about
these.
that.
I feel like I have these conversations like 19 times. I think it's changed a little bit, and the reasons are because so much of the game now is in the gun. You know, back when me and you were playing, we were a lot of drop back, whether it be 3-step, whether it be 5-step, whether it be 7-step from up under. I think it was a little bit different. It was a little bit more pressure on where was the blind side of your quarterback. But, you know, being in the gun, a lot of these guys are front-facing, or in the pistol, a lot of these guys are front-facing. So much of the game from up under is not as big anymore. You know, when you talk about the quarterback drops, a lot of it's from the gun. So you can kind of see both sides as you're doing it. And how we go about our business, you want to be able to protect both sides. But we just kind of protect the guys how we need to protect our guy in order to get it done. And like I don't think it's as big a deal as it would have been if the game was played from up under like it was in the 90s as much. So I think that's a little bit bigger deal back then.
Does it make any difference in the run game as far as stretch plays, which way he likes to go?
No, you know, they're pretty athletic, these guys, man, particularly our guy. He does such a good job of getting that ball out there and getting it to those guys. He's got such big hands, too, and great. He can catch the ball, man. He's outstanding with that stuff. So get the ball out there, whether the ball snapped, and being able to get to those guys and get to those lanes so they can get on those tracks, I think is outstanding.
Raheem, both Watts and Bowman have history playing wide receiver. How can that be beneficial to a safety?
The absolute reason we drafted him, Taryn, the ball skills, getting the ball back, needed like oxygen. You'll hear our guys say, you know, we got to get the ball back for our offense or score with that thing. And these guys are definitely guys in college that Terry just talked about, went out there and got the ball back for their football teams. They play with great instincts and they're instinctual and can make plays all over the place.
They're 1 and 2 among safeties, right? 1 and 2. That's right. Yeah. There we go.
Somebody closed the shades right now because of lead. Who was that? That was Arthur Blank.
There are so many limitations. Y'all don't realize the amount of. If it wasn't for lead, y'all be in the draft room right now. Y'all be right there. There's
In LA, you know we were.
go to staff
but because of
meetings.
lead, we can't.
Yeah.
We could have been picks.
Because
here.
I mean, you got guys that will absolutely give away the picks.
Now, one of the things that we do now, Mark, it's important. It's important for me and Raheem to evaluate the evaluators, right, as we're going through the process. So I don't know if you get to make picks, man. It depends on how good you are at evaluating players.
I'm accountable.
Let me see you got your draft board, Mark. I love to see that. I love to see it, Dave. That'd be actually fun to watch.
I have it.
Give it to me, man.
Maybe next year we'll do a meeting.
Is the front row really a seniority thing? Is that?
There's
That's
about
why is young Daniel up in the front? Like
Charles.
I didn't even know
Charles is right. He should be in the front.
I don't even think I earned this.
All right, appreciate it.
Good.
All right, guys.
Thank y'all guys.
I mean, what kind of guy tells on himself, Led?
Can't make the pick.
Yeah.
Hey, I did something.